the COVID-19 in Title 42, because Title 42 would not allow adults into the country. That was under Title 42 because of COVID-19. They wouldn't let adults in, but our policy was, but if a child comes in, we will let that child in. So the cartels knew this. Jeez. And that what they did is they would send tranches, 50 kids, 75 kids, 100 kids. I've seen it where they would walk right up to our border agents and say, we're here and we need you to process us. And the kids are given a script to say. I was on the border. There was a girl in this group that got stopped, and we were talking to the girl, and she's like, yeah, this is my 4th time coming across. Oh. This is business. The Biden administration knew that it was business. The staffers at Homeland and at the White House knew this was going on. They wanted it to go on. They knew young girls were being raped on the journey to our southern border. They knew this. They didn't care. And then the other people who are part of this, complicit in this, are the NGOs. The NGOs operate on both sides of the border in order for this entire process to happen. And they use kids as the first wave of it because we as a country would say, if kids come to our border, we will accept them in. But because of COVID rules in Title 42, we're not going to accept in adults. And that's what happened. It is a staffing issue. It is an ideological issue in the Democrat Party. Even today, they argue against Tom Homan and what he's trying to do because for them, they have always wanted open borders. And this is where people who have studied and read about the Cloward-Piven strategy of you overwhelm the system in order to rebuild the system, that their strategy, some Democrats, not all, some are, you overwhelm each aspect of the federal system, and so that when it breaks down, then you get to point the finger and then you get to design the new. And that's really at the core of what's going on. But that's why Donald Trump was elected to stop all this.
Who are the NGOs that you were referencing?
The biggest ones are Catholic Charities. Catholic Charities is an NGO. Okay. They get money from the federal government for nonprofit goodwill work. We have NGOs operating all over the world. I would argue we have too many NGOs that are not operating in the interest of the United States, but the deep state has been funding them for decades.
Catholic Charities
is one of them. So Catholic Charities is one of the larger NGOs. They operate, I believe, yes, on both sides of the border. And they'll do things like bring clothes, bring water, bring food, stuff like that. Because when these kids or even adults, when they're coming up to the border, they might get a liter of water in their journey. That's it. So they come up starving. They're starving. They're hungry. They're malnourished, etc. Catholic Charity steps in and provides aid. And the way the Catholic Church views it is, we're providing aid to people who are truly in need, and that's their mission. They are given federal funds through the NGO process in order to do that. The problem is that we fund this, but it's against our national interest to do this. And that's why you have all these funding fights in Washington. Because when you start turning these spigots off, it goes to a lot of groups or a lot of contractors who've had their hand in the kitty for a long time. And then when you start dialing that stuff down, that's when you get these reactions of, you're cutting off poor people, you're doing this, you're doing that. Yeah. No, we are right-sizing the federal government, one, so it can actually be efficient for a change, and it can actually do the things that are in the interest of the United States and its people.